So that is the propeller. Okay, and then you have then an extension of it, which is these with all the nuts that are space in it. And then you also had these spacing out, which you can vaguely see right in through there. You can see the other type of green. Okay, but it is in through there. Okay, so that's this whole part right here. My next part that I'm going to do is getting all the parts. These three pieces right here are essentially these three. Okay, and then when you sit there and you have it on, it's these three. Okay, that's what it looks like on that side. Okay, you'll have this part right here. Okay, this is the triangle. Okay, and then this one has an extra hole right there because later on this little extra piece over here is going to go on there. Now I just need to put the other side for this. Review.
Mom,
Both sides are on.
Mom.
Okay.
The thing won't be able to spin.
Yeah, it will. Okay. And my son had asked me why I had my red pen out. And I will show you guys. Because over here is all of the different screws. And I have to keep track of what I have available for when I'm pulling out this. And I have been keeping them in the bag. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, so as I said, I had been keeping all those in the bag. Okay, now if you look at the top of that screw, it has a red mark. Okay, this is the C12 screw that I have been using. Okay, you see it where it's been called for multiple times. Then on here there's supposed to originally be 5, and I've only got 1 left. And I know in the bag that it's this one. So Joey, that's why I have the red pin out.
Oh.
And now
Mom,
I can go ahead.
That.
I know. Okay. Now I'm going to put that stuff back in the bag.
Say I want my food.
Okay. So both sides. And the propeller will have room to move. Okay. The next part is going to be to put for number 4. We will have. Okay, we're going to go ahead and do this one. Okay. Oh, nope. Flip it around. Okay. And then you know that you have this right here. Okay. And push that on. Okay. Okay. Then you'll have that. Okay. The next part is going to be pushing this on. Okay. Then this and this. Oop. And slide that back on. Okay, sometimes you just have to be thoughtful in how you place your fingers when putting the parts together. But that is number 4. Okay. And so the next section is to figure out how it's going to go right in here, because you can see where the tail end, okay, and how it's all going to go. So I'm still working on number 5, and it needed that part, but it required me to be able to do some work myself, okay, which means, like right there, they sit there and they show you that you had to take one of these and you had to bend it, okay. So you can see on parts where the metal has been cut, I sat there and I took one of these metal clippers by Crescent, okay, that's the part number, okay, sat there and cut underneath each circle except for the last one, and then ever so slightly I sat there and I took a needle nose pliers and bent it, and then I used that as a way to gauge if I bent it too much. But it started out like this, and it required for me to be able to do this for that, and then it's this part that's going to go underneath here. So when I take this part, okay, it is going to be the part that goes up here, so you guys will see it. All right, you guys already know that I sat there and I took this piece and I bent it, and it is now officially on that part, okay. And then I had to use the needle nose pliers to hold this part together because it did not want to stay together. And as you can see it's already crooked, okay. And then the next part that will help hold it in place or balance it out is going to be this right here. So this is my next, help stabilize it a little bit, but it's still like bent. So this part goes up and down on it. All right, and then the next part for part 6 is going to be to put the wheels onto this part right here. So essentially it's going to be like this, and then attaching the wheels from there, which is going to be all of this right here. Okay, so this was part 6, and I have now got the wheels on. Okay, and this part flaps up. Whoop. Hey, looks like I need to tighten that one down a little bit. Okay, but now it's going to be on to, let's see what part 7 is. We are going to extend it a little bit more. Okay, keep in mind there's a whole bag. These are the largest amount of screws and nuts that you work with. Any of those are going to automatically be not labeled or numbered, so that's what you're going to automatically work with. You have to pay attention to whether or not the screws coming up from the top or from underneath on this, because it does not really show you other than the little line where it sits there and you have to follow it. So some of it is just common sense. You have to sit there and visually check, you know, what the part is, how many. So I've got these, okay, and the other part was these two, and I had to make sure that I got the right ones. Okay, those are not flashy metal like that, so I know that it was this one. So now time to extend it. I got this far, and then I went to go do these on the end pieces, and I'm realizing that in the picture they have a spot that extends over the wing, which means that did not fully line up like this. So now I'm going to have to undo this part and screw it in through here, or put this part down to here, okay, so that it overextends on the wing, so that I can have it looking like that. Because even when you go further in, you can see just ever so slightly it sticks out underneath there where it's thicker. Like, you can just barely see it, but it's there. So, the original. And now, after making the correction, I had scooted that over one. Following that, that is going to be the extension of the wing. And now I just need to undo these and extend or push it out, and then use the 2 bolts to extend that one. Okay, and that is for it's completed. I made the fix. I made the adjustments. Okay, now this is going to be step 8. Stepping up the game.